Soo Kai looked at her like that. The viral moment fans can't forget. It began quietly, no publicity stunt, no scandal. Just two professionals sharing a set, a frame, and perhaps something intangible that would grow into legend. Soo Kai, known for his calm composure and magnetic screen presence, met Tan Songyun, the actress celebrated for her sincerity and warmth. When they stood together, the atmosphere seemed to change. Viewers could feel it, an energy that was neither exaggerated nor forced, a current running beneath every exchange. Soo Kai's famous rain scene confession, where he broke from the script to hold Tan Songyun's trembling hands, became a defining image. "It wasn't acting then," he said softly in an interview, a single sentence that shook the internet. Because when a man known for discipline admits to forgetting his lines, what remains must be real emotion. And that truth, raw and rare, is what audiences crave most. Many co-stars have chemistry, few have authenticity. What made Soo Kai and Tan Songyun unforgettable was how naturally their connection unfolded. Behind the camera, they shared quiet jokes, simple meals, music recommendations. Moments that felt refreshingly human in an industry of manufactured perfection. Crew members described how they often chose to stay near each other during breaks, laughing softly, talking about everything and nothing. There was no calculated display of closeness, no attempt to feed fan theories. It was the ease that gave everything away. Tan Songyun once said, "Sometimes when acting feels easy, it's because you're not acting anymore." That sentence hit like a confession disguised as craft. Their chemistry wasn't rehearsed, it was discovered. It wasn't created by directors, it was recognized by viewers who could tell the difference between performance and presence.
So metimes se laudest confessions armade in silence.
At an award ceremony, Soo Kai and Tan Songyun walked side by side, and a single photograph changed everything. Soo Kai adjusted his pace so she wouldn't fall behind, glancing at her with that soft, unguarded expression that fans now call the husband look. That one frame ignited thousands of online discussions.
Was it just courtesy? Or a habit born from genuine care?
When people freeze a second of real tenderness, it becomes art, because it shows instinct, not instruction. Soo Kai didn't need to say a word, the protective tilt of his head said everything. For fans, that image symbolized an unwritten story, the kind that doesn't require confirmation. It's why audiences replay clips like love letters, because sometimes we believe what we feel, not what we're told. In an era obsessed with flawless images, Soo Kai and Tan Songyun offered imperfection, and that's precisely what made them perfect. Their interactions showed awkward pauses, half smiles, and moments of unscripted laughter. Instead of portraying idealized love, they showed how real affection hesitates, trembles, and breathes. This vulnerability redefined what on-screen romance could be. Critics praised their ability to bring subtlety back to the spotlight. Their emotional rhythm felt alive, unpredictable, true. Soo Kai's quiet steadiness complemented Tan Songyun's emotional spontaneity, creating a harmony that audiences couldn't look away from. It wasn't the kind of love that screamed, it whispered, and that whisper reached deeper than any declaration. They reminded everyone watching that chemistry isn't about fireworks. It's about the quiet flame that doesn't burn out once the cameras stop. What followed was nothing short of a cultural phenomenon. Their fans didn't just watch, they built. Across continents, people organized online events to re-watch their work, dissect interviews, and celebrate anniversaries of memorable scenes. Starlight Day, a fan-created global event, gathers thousands yearly to relive the connection that captivated them. Edits, montages, even poetry. Fans turned emotion into art. Hashtags like #reunite Soo Kai Tan Songyun trended multiple times, proving that this was more than fleeting fascination. It became collective nostalgia, a need to preserve what felt too pure to let fade. In these communities, strangers became friends, bound by empathy for two people they might never meet. That's the magic of emotional authenticity. It transcends screens, languages, and borders, transforming performance into shared human experience. As time passed, both actors continued to evolve. Soo Kai stepped into deeper, more restrained roles, while Tan Songyun explored characters that reflected her emotional maturity. Yet no matter how far their careers diverged, that invisible thread between them remained. Interviews hinted at quiet contact, holiday messages, friendly teasing, tiny gestures that reignited speculation. Once, a staff member overheard Soo-kai chuckle while reading his phone, saying softly, "She still teases me." Within hours, social media exploded, convinced she meant Tan Songyun.
Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't.
But the fascination lies not in the answer, but in the hope that some connections never truly fade. That's what fans cling to, the idea that authenticity once revealed doesn't just disappear, it lingers like perfume in the air after the person leaves the room. Every legendary pairing births rumor. For Soo-kai and Tan Songyun, the most sensational was the whispered talk of a secret wedding. It was quickly dismissed, yet fans didn't feel deceived, they felt enchanted. Because deep down, the fascination was never about proof. It was about possibility. The what-if became a narrative of its own. What if the tenderness we saw was not performance but memory? What if that look was recognition, not direction? In our age of curated realities, people yearn for genuine imperfection. Something too spontaneous to be staged. And that's why the legend endures. Not because they confirmed anything, but because they didn't have to. Their restraint keeps the mystery alive. It allows audiences to dream, and sometimes, dreaming feels more real than any official statement could ever make it. Most stories end when the credits roll. But this one continued long after. Years later, viewers still replay the rain scene, still quote his words, still debate what those glances meant.
Why?
Because it reminds us of our own unsaid emotions, the ones that never got closure. Soo-kai and Tan Songyun became mirrors for audiences to see their own vulnerability reflected. Their connection wasn't just romantic, it was universal. It whispered, "You felt this too." That's why even now, long after trends have changed, people still create new edits, new essays, new songs about them. Their story became a collective catharsis, proof that art touches us most deeply when it feels unpolished, incomplete, yet alive. The after-credits linger not because the film was perfect, but because the feelings were unfinished. So why does this story matter in a sea of celebrity pairings? Because it speaks to something rare, authentic connection. We live in a time when so much feels filtered, curated, and performative. But when Soo-kai looked at Tan Songyun, the illusion broke.
Wie SAW Honesty. Wie SAW Recognition.
For a fleeting moment, we believed that even inside a world built on fiction, truth can find a way to shine through. Their connection didn't just entertain, it healed. It gave people hope that sincerity still exists in the spotlight, that gentleness still has power. And perhaps that's why fans keep returning. Not for gossip, but for reassurance. Because somewhere inside all of us, we want to believe that connection, the real, trembling kind, can survive even in a world that scripts everything else. As you listen, ask yourself, what drew you to their story? Was it the unspoken tension, the grace in restraint, or the way their eyes seemed to tell an entire story of longing? Whatever it was, that feeling makes you part of something larger. You're part of a global heartbeat, one that remembers, that replays, that refuses to forget. Whether Soo-kai and Tan Songyun ever reunite on screen doesn't matter as much as what they've already created, an enduring belief that connection, once formed, never truly fades. And as long as fans continue to whisper their names together, the story will keep breathing, through screens, through time, through us. Thank you for joining LVT Showbiz on this emotional journey through the quiet magic between Soo-kai and Tan Songyun. If their story touched your heart, please subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with someone who still believes in the power of real emotion. Don't forget to comment below. Tell us which moment made you believe in love that lives beyond the spotlight.
Your voice keeps the story alive.
Because as long as we keep believing, the light between them will never fade.